For all the latest community news and events.
103.2 Preston FM.
Your community, your radio.
Right now, it's lovely to welcome into the studio, and a very, very happy New Year to Cllr Veronica Afrin, the Mayor of Preston. So, very good morning, Veronica.
Good morning.
So, were you able to hang up those red shoes and everything over the Christmas and New Year period?
Well, first of all, I'd like to wish everyone in Preston and everywhere that's listening a very happy 2014. And successful, hopefully, and prosperous. We need that. No, I didn't hang up my red shoes because the red shoes are there whether I'm mayor or not. All my shoes are there. So, yes, I did. We worked until the 23rd of December. Our last event was a 100th birthday party for Cyril Yeoman, who I don't know whether he listens to Radio Preston FM. So that was our last event, and then from then on I've just been working, doing bits and pieces, but I had a lovely restful Christmas.
Was it very much a family affair?
Oh, very much so, yeah, very much so, as it always is and has to be, hasn't it?
Yeah.
So yes, I saw my grandchildren, I saw my older relatives, I saw friends, and that's what you can't. I see my relatives anyway, but friends you do tend to miss out on because of being busy.
Yeah. And what about now? It's 2014, so 2014, hard to believe, isn't it?
Yeah, very hard.
What would you? I mean, I know in the times I've met you now, your strong love affair with Preston City. I
Absolutely.
know. I that comes across so clear in the times we've met. What would you like to see in 2014 in Preston? What would be a vision?
I would just like to see some of our plans, the council plans, come to fruition. It's very difficult. Such a lot of work goes on in the town hall by the officers as well as the members and the cabinet, but it all seems very, very slow. And I know people kind of lose heart and think that nothing's ever going to happen, but it will happen. I'm confident it will happen. I've been around long enough to know that we've been here before and we've bounced back, and I think that that will happen, but not to underestimate the difficulties that every council has, not just Preston City.
And I mean, what is nice, it's nice now, we're being able to see the kind of semi-pedestrianisation of Fishergate take place, and that should be lovely when that hopefully is finished. I think it's in May, isn't it, that hopefully that's going to be finished?
Yes, hopefully. And I mean, it isn't just Fishergate. We all see Fishergate more, don't we?
Yes,
than any other.
Yeah, of course.
But I do think that the changes at the top of Corporation Street coming up into town, they look to have been very successful. Of course, they've changed Chapel Street and Orchard Street, Loon Street. I get those mixed up even though I live here, and Orchard Street. So that traffic is flowing differently, and we've got rid of some traffic lights now. I do hope. I personally think it is. I drive down there a lot because I live at that end. I think it is successful, but I hear a lot of muttering about, whatever. But then we all mutter, don't we? I've not gone to tell anybody that I like it, but we do tell them if we don't like it.
Do you mean about the traffic lights disappearing?
I mean the way they've done the top of Corporation Street, which was actually a death trap to disabled or anybody, anybody really wanting to cross. Now, it seems to me, I can't say I've crossed it on foot, but it seems to me very well organised. I see the traffic flowing so much better. So, we've got to give these people credit. They come up with plans that look ludicrous.
I know.
But obviously they're the experts, aren't they?
Yeah, because I remember interviewing, I think he was the chief architect or engineer, before it all started, and when he said they were going to take the traffic lights away, yeah. I thought, well, what's going to happen? But in fact, as a pedestrian and as a car driver, it does seem to work quite well.
I think so, yeah. But time will tell, won't it?
And what about, I had one of your colleagues the other day, Councillor Patelin, we were talking about trying to bring families and children into Preston in an evening, and I'm sure that's something also that you would love to see, that we can get people into Preston.
Yeah, I would definitely. And there was a time when people after school did bring the children into Preston. I don't think there's any reason. I don't think the reason is that Preston's not safe or it's not welcoming. I think probably that's a lot to do with the economy. But I do support the ideas, obviously. Hopefully we'll have a youth zone in Preston quite soon, which is a big thing. I've visited them in, I think it was the one in Wigan I visited.
Right.
And another one I can't remember. But they're very, very active. 500 young people from 14 to 25 in these buildings. Not the same, are they? Every night, and it's open. They're open 7 days a week, 365 days a year. So that's a big offer if we get that. I don't know where that's up to at the moment. It's with Lancs County. So I do support what he's saying. We have the organisation that helps us with the town centre. It's businesses. And the Mark Whittle is the person I deal with from there. Yeah. And Mark will be very happy to help. They've got they did Press Fest before Christmas, probably very early in December, and they're putting something on at the end of January. And again, I just know it's happening. I haven't got the details. But that is to tell people that Preston is safe and that there is something there. There is a good offer. And although I don't go nightclubbing anymore, I do tend to meet friends in one of the nightclubs, whichever, around the Church Street area. And they're very, very nice to just have a drink in. I'm not saying I would take my grandchildren with me, but have a drink in before you move on to whatever you're doing. For instance, going to the Guildhall or, that sort of thing. And my friend's just back in Preston from being away for quite a long time. And she remarked at how very, very pleasant the staff were, that, they're young, they're funky, they're not really, they do want to entertain us, obviously, but that's not the job. But they are very welcoming and very nice and very caring,
Yeah.
So I would certainly support anything. I hope to be supporting Mark that says to people, this is Preston. It's safe. We've got a good police force if we need it. We've got lovely places. They're all checked. You were talking about the cafe earlier. We've got very good measures of what's hygienic and what's clean and whatever. So, Preston is somewhere that families, that anybody of any age should be able to enjoy.
And two other things since we last met, I think, that is brilliant for Preston is the fact that both the Avonham Park and the museum won awards, tourist, over 1 million visitors to Avonham Park.
That's right.
Wow. Well, that's something to be proud
Avonham
of.
Park it is obviously beautiful. It was we spent time there when I was very small. But the cafe, you were talking about a cafe, the cafe is fantastic because you sit there and you look out to the river at one side and the valley at the other side, and you're looking up to those. It's kept beautifully by our gardeners and volunteers, let me say. The Friends of Avonham Park do a lot of work. So it is somewhere. I'm fortunate. I live in Westcliff and I can just walk into the park. It's like my garden. And it doesn't matter when you go. Obviously not in the rain. I don't go out in the rain. It doesn't really matter when you go. It's always beautiful.
And the museum also won in the top 10 tourist awards.
Yeah, that's the jewel in our crown, isn't it?
Yeah.
And again, that's down to brilliant staff who work so hard. And there are 2 exhibitions on at the moment that are on my list to see. I've seen one, but I always have something on my list to see in the Harris Museum. And of course the shop. I shopped at the shop before Christmas, and probably it's very tempting. We've got to rush past it because it's all very tempting. But yeah, I would congratulate the staff and everyone to
in the work that they do there to
That's
have
right.
got it in there. And I know one of the things that was close to your heart, but sadly it had to be cancelled, was the Chinese visit to Preston shortly before.
The Chinese bit, it was cancelled, but it was rearranged.
Ah, right.
And that was very successful. We actually...
So that has now taken place.
It's taken place. We had, we expected about 6, we had 12 people there. And we had a formal meeting, where our Economic Development Officer, Derek White, actually came to show them what Preston was, what the economy was based on, what we tried to do, the people we worked with. And Martin, whose last name I've forgotten, came from the university to talk about their developments. And of course we had interpreters. The place they came from is called Qinghai, not Shanghai, Qinghai, Qin-High. And they were certainly very interested. Obviously, they will keep in touch with us. They were very interested in the Chinese offer, in the university offer, because the university is already twinned very successfully with Shanghai. But Qinghai is a long way away from there. It's getting towards Tibet. Very interesting that they would want to work with the university to see what could be developed in that area. So that's very good for the university, because obviously we have exchange, but it also makes a lot of money.
Right,
for
yes,
UCAN.
with
that's
students.
Very important. Where they come from looked to be a beautiful place. They had a lake, which was actually as big as Britain. So we have a hanging at the town hall with the grass and people, little thing, very Tibetan looking. And then this big lake, and you're over to Tibet. So it was very good.
Wow.
It was amazing how easy it was actually to converse with them. We had a lovely meal then at the new Chinese restaurant in the next street from here that way, isn't it? It's called Face, and we had some lovely Chinese food, probably a little bit more Chinese because of them, but it was a lovely day. So hopefully we will see more of them.
And did they find it quite interesting being in Preston?
Yes, they did. Well, some of them have been before. We've had 3 visits this year, and some of them have been before. So I think they are quite. I think they find Preston quite comfortable. I hope so. They come in and sit down and have a cup of tea or whatever, and they do tend to chat through so that's good. We don't sit looking at each other.
Because I think we have one of the largest populations, don't we, at UCLan, of Chinese students in the country?
We have a big population of Chinese in Preston.
Yes.
They're very, very good citizens. They get on with their lives and take part in their life, but they're not so much seen. And, they're all working or studying, so they're not people that you see. But we see them with the arts, of course, and with the culture, that kind of thing. So, yes, it's good to join communities, isn't it, like that?
Yeah. And sadly, some sad news at the beginning of 2014 was the death of Councillor Tom Burns.
Yes.
Is Tom someone you'd known for a long time?
Yes, I knew Tom very well. I've known him maybe 10 or more years, I can't remember. Tom, it's a great loss, because we've just been talking about the Harris Museum. And Tom actually did that was in my portfolio a few years ago, probably 8 years ago, and Tom took over that last year, the year before, and he really put his heart and soul into it, and he was as passionate about it as I am. And so we had that in common. We also had family in common. We're from the same sort of backgrounds. I have to pay tribute to his wife and his children and his grandchildren. I mean, he loved them to death, like we all do. But they've supported him so much. He has been very poorly.
I believe so.
It wasn't a shock to me, because he looked very ill the last time I saw him. But it's a sad loss. He will be missed. We don't know when the funeral is, but obviously we'll all be at the funeral and there to support the family.
And it's amazing with media these days and modern social media. I was following, there was some brilliant tributes being paid to him on Twitter and all over the place.
Yeah, it is. It hasn't been a councillor that long, but he's really put his heart and soul into it, and hopefully is in a better place. And just last week, another ex-councillor, Alan Foster, died. He was a councillor for Larches a few years ago, so I'll be attending his funeral tomorrow. So it's a very sad time, very sad time for their families. And
for yourself, are the engagements now beginning to roll in for the new year?
They are, yes. One of the things that we did on Friday, my daughter and myself, she's American, of course, we went to the Showman's Guild lunch, and it was in Manchester, Salford maybe. Anyway, Jim takes us. I don't need to know that, do I? Magic Jim takes us, and that was very enlightening. It was in a hotel, and the food was lovely. It was very well organised, but it was showmen getting together, and it was all about Lancashire. So, Lancashire in the northwest. So the mayors from all over the place were there. But interestingly, the showmen, they had pictures of old fairs that they attend. And they've attended Preston for many years. And so that was interesting. There was someone there who archived their history. But in fact, the people themselves, I think we don't realise that their culture is very strong, still very strong. And many of them live in bigger mobile homes now, but they're still a travelling community. So it's very enlightening. Right. Very enlightening, and we really thoroughly enjoyed it.
So these were showmen like entertainers and people from travelling circuses and all kinds of different backgrounds.
Fairs. Travelling fairs. And of course, apparently the guy that puts on the ice rink over Christmas, which was fantastic.
Yes, I know. I went round there a few times.
That man is a travelling showman. It isn't circuses, it is fairs. And to look at, we were looking at the pictures and talking to people, and of course the family, the name in Preston, there were other names as well, was Wilcox. Always Wilcox.
Yes, Wilcox.
Walser.
That's
the
right,
caterpillar, the swing boats, and it was quite amusing to watch the pictures, because we would be in swing boats with a bit of a string in the middle to hold on, no harnesses, no safety.
No,
really.
That's right.
I don't know whether anybody ever died, but you could go higher and higher, and nobody checked. And the waltzer, people screamed on the waltzer. Well, of course, today kids there, 50 feet up in the air and dropping with no bother. That's where the scream is. And the caterpillar, the caterpillar was like Love's Young Dream.
Yes.
Your first boyfriend, you'd be going.
Used to come
That's right. So it's very, very, very interesting. Of course, there were people there who remembered all these things, obviously, and the family are very proud. It's come down, and they intend to continue. And of course, now they've had to diversify. They do things like this man did. Little one-offs, so they're happy to do all kinds of things instead of a big fairground appearing. It's easy for them to do.
I bet that was quite fascinating.
Was very, very interesting. Very nice people, listening to them talking about a community that even someone there who was probably 50. He hadn't gone to school once he could read and write. That was the measure. Yeah, and then after that, they were working. So they're a very hard-working community still. You were seeing granddads, dads, and younger people, not as young as 10 and 11, obviously, but maybe it happens, working together. It's a very family-orientated, but quite a different culture. They have their own language. It's based on Cllr. But right. It's different, quite different. As the travellers have that, the other travellers have their own language, haven't they? Different from the from the showman track list. So these languages will fade out unless somebody takes care. But it seems to be a very alive and active community, so it was lovely.
So do they put this on every year to
Yes.
keep it alive and to
I think
keep
they put
the
it on.
history going?
All mayors are invited, so they put it on to really publicise themselves and to say thank you to council to allow them to entertain our citizens.
Lovely. Well, and I, just before you do go, I also believe we're talking about the waltzer and the caterpillar, the memories. I think another memory is you were listening to the Soul Show on Preston FM the other day and remember the all-nighters at Wigan Casino,
right.
which I remember well.
Well, I didn't go to many all-nighters because by then I was either too young to go, couldn't go, or I was nursing, so you didn't do all-nighters because we worked very hard. But it was a very iconic place, obviously,
Yes.
and I did enjoy listening. I was driving, fortunately, so I listened to. I was driving quite a long way, so I listened to Brian and Andrew
music.
Kirkham, and I just wondered really a little bit more. I'll Google him.
Yes. Well, apparently it's doing really well at 53 degrees.
Yes,
They're back
yes.
there. I think it's this coming Saturday, and they get
Yeah.
400, 500 people going along. So
That's right.
It's great that we've got it going in the city still.
It is.
The Soul Night.
It is indeed. Whatever kind of music you like, it's available, really, isn't it?
That's
and
right.
That's a really good thing. I don't think it is publicised. Perhaps enough. 63, all kinds go on at 63 degrees. It's
I often
again
think
another iconic building that people hate or love, but
Yes, it
the
is,
actual what they put on at these places is very good, isn't it?
Well, can I thank you once again for coming into Preston FM, and hope, as you were saying, this is going to be a really nice 2014, and look forward to our next meet. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening. If you've enjoyed today's interview, why not tweet Hughie at ChatCityPFM.